Having your character interact with its environment is an essential part of every 2D game. Shooting is a great way to learn how your character can interact with its environment. In this video, we'll cover the process of making a bullet. We'll take input from the user and then fire a new bullet every time input is received. Beware, the character we're working on is fully rigged and animated to move, but if you need to learn how to do that, click the series on screen now. This video is part of a much larger series where I cover everything you need to know for building your own 2D side view game. The project is available for free through my GitHub account, and you can access that by clicking the link in the description below. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and also check out my Patreon account if you want to donate that way. Also, be sure to follow us on our social media accounts to get updates on the latest videos. So in Unity, I'll start by creating a bullet projectile. In the scripts folder, I'll right click in the project panel, navigate to create, and select the C# script. Let's name this script bullet, and let's create a sprite in our scene for our bullet by right clicking in the panel, navigating to 2D, and selecting sprite. Let's apply the sprite to the sprite renderer and resize the game object to match the general size of the gun. There are a few ways to control the movement of the bullet. In this example, I'll use the rigid body component to move the bullet throughout the scene. So I'll click the add component button and search for rigid body 2D, adding it to this game object. We'll also need a collider, so let's add a box collider 2D, and we want to enable the isTrigger option. Once we've added our components, let's open the bullet script and write the necessary logic. We can get rid of the starting code in our script, and let's add two variables for the bullet class. Let's add a rigid body 2D variable for the rigid body component on the game object, and a float variable for the movement speed of the bullet. Then let's create a new public void function called shoot, and we'll call this function the moment after we spawn the bullet. In this function, we'll want to change the velocity of the rigid body to move towards a specific location. Since in this game we're already aiming at the mouse, I'll be shooting the bullet towards the mouse position. So for our parameters, all we need is a vector 3, and in the body of the function, let's change the velocity of the rigid body so that it shoots toward the vector 3 location supplied in the parameter. We can do that by subtracting the current position from the mouse position, giving us a difference, and then we can multiply the difference by the movement speed. Let's also destroy this game object after 5 seconds, because at that point we are almost certain the bullet has left the field of vision. After all that, let's add a onTriggerEnter2D function, and this will be where we would write our handlers. For example, if we had enemies in our game. If we wanted to kill our enemies, we would simply compare the tag of the object we hit to the keyword enemy, or whatever we decide to add as a tag to our enemy game object. Then if we had an enemy script, we could get the component that controls the object's death by using the getComponent function. But here I'll just destroy the bullet. Since we don't have an enemy set up, I'll comment this out and leave it as is. And let's return to Unity. Let's make sure to add a rigid body 2D component to the bullet script, and let's change the speed to 5. That's really all we need to do for the bullet script right now. Now let's write a script that controls when a bullet is shot. To do that, I'll return to the project panel and right click. I'll navigate to create and select C# script. Let's name this script shoot and double click it to open it in Visual Studio. We can get rid of the start function right away, and let's add a few variables. First, we need a location to shoot our bullet from, so let's track that. I'll use a serialized transform called gunLocation. Next, if we want to spawn bullets, we'll need a variable that will hold the bullet prefab, so I'll create a serialized bullet variable called bullet prefab. I'd also like to play a simple shooting sound effect in this script, so let's create a variable for the audio clip and the audio source that we'll need. Now in the update function, let's create an if statement that is triggered if the user uses any of the assigned fire controls. Let's add one more variable to the header of the script. We'll also want a vector 3 for the mouse position. So now let's update the mouse position in the if statement. Let's use the screen to world point function on the main camera to calculate the real world location of the current mouse position. Then let's set the Z position of the mouse to 0 since we won't have any depth of field in our game. Then we can create a new bullet using the instantiate function, passing the gun's location, position, and rotation as parameters. By using the position and the rotation, our bullet will be able to move freely throughout the scene. If we were to use the game's transform as opposed to the position and the rotation, the instantiated object would become a child of the game object we used to spawn that prefab. So we'll have to make sure that it is in world space rather than a child of another game object. Then with the instantiated bullet, let's call the shoot function, passing in our calculated mouse position as the parameter. Lastly, let's play our audio clip through the audio source using the play one shot function from the audio source variable. Let's return to Unity, and just to keep our project clean, let's create a new subfolder for our bullet prefab. I'll right click in the project panel, navigate to create, and select folder. I'll name this folder resources and double click it to open it. Let's drag in our bullet from the hierarchy to the project panel, making this game object a prefab, and then let's delete the bullet from our scene. Next, we need to select the player and add the shoot script. Let's also make sure to fill in the shoot script variables. The gun location is first, so let's create a new empty game object positioned right at the end of our gun. I'll select the gun, right click on the game object, and select create empty. I'll rename this game object gun location, and let's drag this game object into the drop box for the gun location in the shoot script. Let's find our bullet prefab and apply that. Then let's add a audio source to our player, and we can do that by clicking the add component button and searching for audio source. Let's apply the audio source to the shoot script and then find the audio effect we want to play and apply it. Now when we run our game, we can see that the player shoots a bullet towards the mouse position, playing the sound effect every time a bullet is fired. What's up everyone, thanks for watching. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to follow us on social media to get the latest news updates.